Hello students, this is Saiqua Parveen. Let us begin today's class with something interesting. Once upon a time, there was a crow which was flying across a very dense forest. It felt thirsty and started searching for water here and there. It flew across the forest but could not locate any water body. Finally, the crow saw a little pail with very little amount of water at its bottom. The crow could not reach the water. It thought for some time and started filling the pail with the pebbles which were lying around. As the number of pebbles increased in the pail, the water level slowly started rising, and very soon it reached the mouth of the pail, and the crow could quench its thirst, and it flew away very happily. So, this story tells us the importance of, could you guess it? Yes, it tells us the importance of logical thinking. So there is nothing which is impossible. Even the word impossible itself says, I'm possible. So with logical thinking, out of the box thinking, rational thinking, we can solve any situation. But taking this story into account, what do we understand from the story? That this is a moral story. It gives us one lesson which we can remember for our entire life. So in our previous class I had given you an activity asking you to write about the kind of stories you had heard during your childhood, and almost most of you have given us that you have heard many moral stories from your grandparents, and you, some of you believe those stories and some of you say you don't believe those stories. So, what should we believe actually from those stories? What should you learn from the stories? It is the moral. It is what is the lesson of the story that has to be imbibed. And naturally, when we were children, when we were young children, when we heard those stories, let us say the story of Cinderella, what do we call such type of stories? We call them fairy tales. We have heard the stories of Arabian Nights, 1000 Nights, Arabian Nights. So we have heard the story of Aladdin and his wonderful lamp. So all these stories, they come under the category of fairy tales. What are fairy tales? They are imaginary fantastic stories. And some of the stories, some of the fairy tales also contain morals. So as when we were children, when we heard those stories, what did we believe? We believed the stories to be true. We believed that yes, there is a girl called Cinderella and she met a fairy, and the fairy helped her. And we have heard of the stories of the hare and the tortoise. We believe that yes, an actual race took place between the hare and the tortoise, and it is the tortoise which won. But as we grow up, what do we understand? We understand that those stories were just stories. All the characters, all the incidents which we heard, they are just fictitious elements of human imagination. The author, the person who has written those stories, the person who has told those stories, the creator of the stories, he has just used his or her imagination to deliver us a very fantastic tale. So we forget the characters, we may forget the incidents, but what do we remember forever? We remember forever the lesson which we have learned from that story. So such stories are called fairy tales. And usually, any fairy tale, it begins with this phrase, once upon a time. Even in Telugu, you say anaga anaga oka maharaju, something like that. So once upon a time there was a king, once upon a time there was a prince, once upon a time there was a very beautiful princess. When you read this phrase at the beginning of any story, you can conclude that this is a fairy tale, this is a highly fictitious imaginary story. So here our title of the poem is also once upon a time. So, having gone through all these fairy tales, having mentioned these fairy tales, having mentioned the moral stories, so what can we guess about this poem? That this poem could be about something which is truly not existing. So, fairy tales, they are imaginative. So, the situation which we may come across in this poem, it could be an imaginative situation. It's an imaginary situation, which something which we do not come across in our day-to-day life. Okay, so this poem is written by Gabriel Okara, and Gabriel Okara is a Nigerian poet. Just as in Asia, Asia is a continent, and in Asia we have got so many countries. In the same way, Africa is also a continent, and in Africa, Nigeria is a country. So this poet's nationality is he's Nigerian. He belongs to Africa, an African poet. We can say he is a Nigerian poet. And he was born in the year 1921. And in his poetry, he is inspired by African folklore and religion. So there people follow many. There are many tribes and there are many religions there also. So he is inspired by the local religion and by the local folklore, and he has written both poetry and fiction. So, the most important work of Gabriel Okara is Piano and Drum, and he has published two collections of poetry specifically for children, and they are Little Snake and Little Frog and An Adventure to Juju Island. In 1979, he was also awarded the Commonwealth Prize for his poetry. And Gabriel Okara, he passed away on 25th of March last year, that is 2019. So, in the present poem, Gabriel Okara talks about a situation which he came across in his childhood. And here, the poet or the narrator of the poem is a father, and a father is talking to his son. He is addressing his son. So, let me first read out the poem and later I'll explain. Once upon a time, son, they used to laugh with their hearts and laugh with their eyes. But now they only laugh with their teeth while their eyes block, cold eyes search behind my shadow. There was a time indeed they used to shake hands with their hearts. But that's gone, son. Now they shake hands without hearts while their left hands search my empty pockets. Feel at home. Come again, they say. And when I come again and feel at home, once, twice, there will be no thrice, for then I find doors shut on me. So I have learned many things, son. I have learned to wear many faces, like dresses, home face, office face, street face, host face, cocktail face with all their conforming smiles like a fixed portrait smile. And I have learned too to laugh with only my teeth and shake hands without my heart. I have also learned to say goodbye when I mean good riddance, to say glad to meet you without being glad, and to say it has been nice talking to you after feeling bored. But believe me, son, I want to be what I used to be when I was like you. I want to unlearn all these muting things. Most of all, I want to relearn how to laugh. For my laugh in the mirror shows only my teeth like a snake's bare fangs. So show me, son, how to laugh. Show me how I used to laugh and smile once upon a time when I was like you. So let us again read stanza 1. Once upon a time, son, they used to laugh with their hearts. Here, the poet or the narrator of the poem, who is a father, father is speaking to his son. So here, this is a monologue. Here, only one person speaks, or we know that the father is speaking to his son, but in the entire poem, which has 7 stanzas, we never come across the reply of the son. So he is just there. He is a mute listener. He is not responding to whatever his father says. We have to imagine, మనం imagine చేసుకోవాలి. ఏం imagine చేయాలి? That there is a little boy there who is listening to whatever the poet is saying. So what is the poet telling his son? Just like we tell fairy tales to little children, మనం చిన్న పిల్లలకి పేరెంట్స్ గ్రాండ్ పేరెంట్స్ వాళ్ళ పిల్లలకి ఎలా ఏ విధంగా అయితే ఫెయిరీ టేల్స్ చెప్తారో కథలు చెప్తారో ఆ విధంగా ఇక్కడ కూడా ది ఫాదర్ ఈస్ టెల్లింగ్ హిస్ సన్ అండ్ హీ బిగిన్స్ విత్ దిస్ ఫ్రేజ్ once upon a time. So when you hear this phrase, you feel that whatever the father is saying, it took place very long ago. Chana పాతకాలంలో ఇది sometime in years ago this incident has taken place. So it is not happening now. It is not in let us say it took place somewhere in distant future, you can say. Even if it is true, it's not a current situation, it's not a contemporary situation, it is something of the past. So it has passed away. The incidents which the father is explaining now, they have passed away. They are not రిలేటెడ్ టు ద కరెంట్ టైం. ఈ ప్రజెంట్ కాలంకి దీనికి రిలేషన్ లేదు, ఆల్రెడీ ఇవి జరిగిపోయినాయి అనేది మనము అర్థం చేసుకోవచ్చు. ఎలా అర్థం చేసుకుంటున్నాము? బికాస్ ఆఫ్ యూజింగ్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ ఫ్రేజ్ వన్స్ అపాన్ ఏ టైం. ఎప్పుడో జరిగిన కథ ఇది. సో దే యూస్డ్ టు లాఫ్ విత్ దేర్ హార్ట్స్. వాళ్ళు. సో దే యూస్డ్ టు లాఫ్ విత్ దేర్ హార్ట్స్. Laughing with their hearts means being fully involved in whatever they are doing, in the happiness. So they didn't pretend that they are happy అని వాళ్ళు ఎప్పుడు ప్రిటెండ్ చేయలేదు, యాక్షన్ చేయలేదు, యాక్ట్ చేయలేదు. They used to laugh with their hearts. So they were really satisfied people, they were contented people. So they were really very very happy people, and because of this they used to laugh with their hearts and laugh with their eyes. So this is expression of happiness. In Keats, one of the Keats poems, La Belle Dame Sans Mercy, there is a poem. ఆ poem లో కూడా there is a knight, a wandering knight, ఒక wandering warrior ఉంటాడు. So this wandering warrior, he finds a very beautiful damsel while he is on జర్నీలో ఒక బ్యూటిఫుల్ అమ్మాయిని, ఒక బ్యూటిఫుల్ గర్ల్ని he sights during his journey. And even in the description of that beautiful damsel, he says, he talks about her beautiful smile which begins with her eyes. So eyes నుంచి ఆ స్మైల్ బిగిన్ అయ్యి లిప్స్ వరకు రీచ్ అవుతుంది అంటారు knight, that warrior. So it means when you are truly happy, even your eyes reflect your happiness. Sometimes you laugh with your entire heart, and what happens when you laugh like that? You feel you shed tears. So are you really crying then? No, you are not crying. They are the tears of happiness. When you are really happy, even eyes express that emotion to the fullest. So here, once upon a time, in olden days, we are talking about olden days, a bygone days. So how did people used to laugh? They used to laugh wholeheartedly. Wholehearted involvement ఉన్నింది వాళ్ళు నవ్వినప్పుడు కూడా. So they did not pretend, they did not act. Usually ఎప్పుడు యాక్ట్ చేస్తాము మనం? ప్రిటెండ్ ఎప్పుడు చేయాల్సి వస్తుంది? when you don't get involved in that action, when your heart is not in that action, and when you are trying to influence others, when you are trying to impress others, when you are trying to, let us say, flatter others. Let us say you are working in an office and you are trying your level best to get ప్రమోషన్ కోసం మీరు ట్రై చేస్తున్నారు. మీ బాస్ ఒక జోక్ చెప్పినారు, ఆ జోక్లో there is nothing in the joke, but what do? You simply laugh. And why do you laugh? Just to, let us say, impress your boss. ఆ బాస్ నేను ఆ ఫ్రెండ్ని ఇంప్రెస్ చేయాలి. So you want to impress that person, and what do? You simply laugh. You don't even understand the joke, or you don't enjoy the joke, but simply you act as if you have enjoyed. But in olden days, the people, they did not pretend. They were very, very honest. So they used to laugh with their hearts and laugh with their eyes. The other meaning of this is they were very satisfied people. They were satisfied with whatever they had in life. But nowadays, what's happening? People are becoming very, very greedy. So the more they get, the more greedy they become. ఎంత వచ్చినా మనకేమి ఇప్పుడు సాటిస్ఫాక్షన్ లేదు, హ్యాపీనెస్ లేదు, ఆ స్మైల్ లేదు. We are always busy like ants. But in spite of that, we are earning so much. There are so many facilities. Science and technology have improved so much. So God has given us everything, but still we lack that satisfaction. We lack that gratitude అనేది లేదు, థ్యాంక్ఫుల్నెస్ అనేది లేదు. కాబట్టి మన లైఫ్లో మనకి ఇప్పుడు సాటిస్ఫాక్షన్ లేదు, హ్యాపీనెస్ లేదు. వెన్ క్యాన్ వన్ బి హ్యాపీ? వెన్ వన్ ఈస్ సాటిస్ఫైడ్. అండ్ వెన్ వన్ ఈస్ సాటిస్ఫైడ్? వెన్ వన్ ఈస్ గ్రేట్ఫుల్ టు వాట్ ఎవర్ లైఫ్ హ్యాస్ గివెన్ హిమ్ ఆర్ హర్. మనకి లైఫ్ ఏదైతే మనకి ఇచ్చిందో మనం దానితో మనం ఒకవేళ కంటెంట్గా ఉంటే యూ విల్ బి హ్యాపీ. అండ్ దట్ happiness will be reflected when you smile, when you laugh. Not only that happiness is experienced by your heart, but also by your eyes. But in today's world, how are people laughing? But now they only laugh with their teeth. So when they laugh, how do you understand that a person is laughing? Because that person is exposing his teeth. ఆ టీత్ ఎక్స్పోజ్ అవుతున్నాయి కాబట్టి మనం ఏమనుకోవచ్చు, ఎస్ దిస్ పర్సన్ ఇస్ laughing. But that laugh is not genuine laugh. Genuine laugh కాదు, అది రియల్ laugh కూడా కాదు. It is just a production of some sound and the exposing of teeth, and we can conclude that he is laughing. And while this person is laughing, what are his eyes doing? While their eyes block, cold eyes search behind my shadow. That person is talking with me. That person is talking with us. But what are his eyes doing? And what type of eyes are those? They are ice block, cold eyes. So when do you use this word cold? Cold means being lifeless. So warmth is associated with life and cold is associated with death. Even when a person dies, what happens? The body becomes very cold. So cold is associated with death. Winter is associated with death. Whereas spring, the warm season, the beginning of warm season is associated with life. So here the person's eyes are compared to two ice blocks. How are those eyes? They are very cold. Here cold means they lack emotions. The eyes don't have any emotions. They are very cold. They are ruthless. They are merciless, we can say. And what are these two eyes doing? That person, while he is pretending to laugh at whatever you are saying, the person is pretending to be happy with whatever he is listening from you. What are his eyes doing? They are searching behind my shadow. Searching behind my shadow. It means the person is trying to understand what type of background you are from, whether it's going to benefit him if he makes friendship with you, whether it's going to benefit him if he talks with you. Are you worthy enough to talk to him? That's what he is trying to understand by looking at you, by scanning you with his ice block, cold eyes. And అర్థమేమి ఇక్కడ? When now people have become very selfish. They want to talk to you, they want to talk to us only if it fulfills their అంబిషన్స్. వాళ్ళ అంబిషన్స్కి మనం ఏదో ఒక రకంగా మనం ఫుల్ఫిల్ చేయగలిగితే మాత్రమే మనతో ఫ్రెండ్షిప్ చేస్తారు. సో దే ఆర్ వెరీ వెరీ సెల్ఫిష్. సెల్ఫ్లెస్ లవ్, selfless relationships, they are not found now. Yes, they were there once upon a time. Now we come to the second stanza. There was a time indeed they used to shake hands with their hearts. So there was a time indeed. Looking at the present situation, సో ఇది మనకి ఎక్కడ కనిపించదు. ఏం కనిపించదు? షేకింగ్ హ్యాండ్స్ విత్ హార్ట్స్, హోల్ హార్టెడ్ వామ్ షేకింగ్ ఆఫ్ హ్యాండ్స్ అనేది మనకి ఇక్కడెక్కడ కనిపించదు. బట్ దెర్ వాజ్ ఎ టైమ్ ఇన్ డీడ్. బట్ రియలీ you have to believe the poet when he says, so he is trying to convince his son, the poet is trying to convince his son that there was a time, indeed, really, there was a time in the past, son. You may not believe me, but please believe me that there was a time in the past when people used to meet others wholeheartedly. వేరే వాళ్ళతో కలిసినప్పుడు చాలా హ్యాపీగా wholeheartedగా కలిసేవాళ్ళు. So they used to shake hands with their hearts. When they used to shake hands, it was wholehearted and it came from their hearts. But that's gone, son. Kani, unfortunately, now that time is gone. That period is over. That era has completed. And how are they shaking their hands now? Now they shake hands without hearts. So they shake hands without hearts. So they don't like what they are doing. Mechanically, they shake hands, but they are not in the least interested in talking with other person. So they are not social. So now we have virtual relationships, virtual contacts. We are in contact with everyone. Let us say on WhatsApp group, there are so many social platforms, but how many of us are talking really face to face with our dear ones? How many times, how often do we talk to our parents? How often do we talk to our siblings? How often do you talk wholeheartedly with your friends, apart from chatting on WhatsApp or apart from chatting on any other social platform? So that time is gone when people used to involve with their dear ones. Now what do? They shake hands without hearts. So even now talking with someone is considered a waste of time. So that time we could spend on phone. So people avoid talking now. Even while their right hands are shaking the other person's hand, what is their left hand doing? While their left hand search my empty pockets. So just as in the first stanza, we read, their eyes block, cold eyes, they search behind my shadow. That is, they are trying to estimate what kind of a person you are, whether you are financially sound person, whether you are worthy of their friendship. Are you a rich person? In future, are they going to extract some benefit from you? మీ వలన వాళ్ళకి ఏదైనా బెనిఫిట్ ఉందా అనేది వాళ్ళు ఎలా అయితే వాళ్ళేమి ఫస్ట్ స్టాంజాలో మనం చూసినామో వాళ్ళు ఎలా అయితే మీకు స్కాన్ చేసి కనుక్కుంటున్నారు. దట్ ఈస్ దే స్కాన్ అట్ ద వే యూ హ్యావ్ డ్రెస్డ్. మీ డ్రెస్సింగ్ ఎలా ఉంది, డ్రెస్సింగ్ సెన్స్ ఎలా ఉంది, అండ్ వాట్ ఈస్ యువర్ ఫైనాన్షియల్ బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్, ఇవి అన్ని థింగ్స్ వీళ్ళు ఎప్పుడైతే అసెస్ చేస్తుంటారో ఇక్కడ కూడా ద సేమ్ meaning applies even here. While their left hand search my empty pocket, these people, they are trying to understand what kind of financial situation you are in, whether you are a rich person or you are a poor person. మీతో ఫ్రెండ్షిప్ చేస్తే వాళ్ళే మీకు హెల్ప్ చేయాల్సి వస్తుందా, లేక మీరు వాళ్ళకి హెల్ప్ చేస్తారా? సో ఇవన్నీ వాళ్ళకి ఏమి, ఈవెన్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ సాటిస్ఫైస్ దెమ్, ఓన్లీ దెన్ దే విల్ ప్రొసీడ్ టు make friends with you, they will proceed to talk with you. Okay, here we stop. In the next class, we will move on to the third and fourth stanzas. Thank you.